Mag 7, the Great 5, the Fab 4, right? 2024, the rally began like one of those hot rock bands, but eventually the solo star went solo. We're talking, of course, NVIDIA. Now, since last October, take a look at this. This is how the market is stacked up. Since that October rally, that's NVIDIA's part of it. That's the other chip company's part of it. This is the Fab 5 right here. And guess what? 484 stocks right there, right? So it has been a concentrated rally without a doubt. But along the way, we had the coronation, right? The coronation of NVIDIA. I mean, think about this. How meteoric is this rise been for the stock? All right, so they're rebalancing the XLK. That's the S&P technology. You go back, this is where Apple was. Apple was 21% of this, 21%, now less than 5%. NVIDIA was less than 6%, now 21%. Let's call it a changing of the guard, right? But here's what's interesting. As all of this is going on, all of that red, that's NVIDIA insiders just selling every day. They're just selling. That's about $250 to $250 billion worth of stock. Now, maybe a drop in a proverbial bucket, but still, that's a lot of red for a stock that's supposed to keep going up and up and up. So finally, here we are. We got two questions, right? Every investor wants to know, can the rest of the market rally if NVIDIA begins to wobble? Well, so far, so good. This is today's session, folks. And the other question is, hey, when do we buy NVIDIA back? So my next guest says there's actually more AI plays out there that you may want to take a look at. So let's bring in Great Hill Capital Chairman Thomas Hayes. So Thomas, what's your beef with NVIDIA?
Well, look, it's a great company. It's a great CEO, but price is what you pay, value is what you get. Last week, I put out a note on Thursday. You know, it went up $3 more against me, 136 to 139. Now it's down 15%. This stock got up to 41 times sales. It got up to 51 times current earnings on 33% earnings growth, 70% gross margins in a cyclical commodity business. Right. And why is this cyclical commodity? Well, look, Intel, which you can't give away right now, has got the Gaudi 3 chip. It's 50% faster than the H100. It's half the price, 40% more energy efficient. So there are other things to do right now. So
why is everyone shunning Intel? I never hear Intel in the chip conversation.
Yeah, because
they used to dominate. I mean, maybe because they squandered that lead?
They squandered the lead. They fell behind. They fell asleep at the wheel. Gelsinger's trying to turn it around. But listen to this. Think about Tesla, how the government subsidized them for 10 years. It became a multi-trillion-dollar business. The government just gave them $45 billion of grants, subsidies, loans in order to stand up the foundry business against Taiwan Semiconductor for political reasons. They are not only going to ensure that Intel succeeds, they're going to be the second largest foundry by 2030, the #1 foundry in AI by 2030, and the government's standing behind them for that.
So we're buying Intel. And right now, you're sort of avoiding these names.
Yeah, look, we're going to get some technical bounces here. 15% in 3 days is a lot. So you'll get a technical bounce. Jensen Huang did file in his 10B to sell up to $750 million of shares. He owns a lot more. He's already sold 94. As you said, the insiders have sold $750 million. So I might just get out of the way for a little while. The other key thing, last year as NVIDIA went up, it got cheaper because earnings went up. Now, revenue growth quarter on quarter is decelerating from 88% down to 34% to 22% to 18%. It's only going to grow quarter on quarter revenues 7% this quarter.
AMD reports this week, I think, right? And we'll probably know a lot more. Let's talk about the broad market for a moment. Folks, these are your sectors, right? There's 11 sectors in the S&P. Consumer discretionary against the S&P, hammered. Financials against the S&P, hammered. Industrials fell off a cliff. Consumer staples, hammered. Healthcare, hammered, right? Materials hammered, real estate hammered, utilities hammered. You've only got two that have been up: consumer services, communication services, and so here I'm looking. Oh, by the way, I forgot another one: energy hammered. Yeah. I'm looking here at all of these. Look, I mean, you don't have to be a technician. They look like maybe they're oversold. It's got to be opportunity in there.
No question about it. 60% of the S&P returns were from 5 stocks. Price follows earnings. Okay, the first quarter of this year, the Magnificent Seven was 50% earnings growth. The rest of the S&P was negative 2%. Right. By the fourth quarter, it's going to be 17% earnings growth for the Magnificent Seven, 19% for everything else. Same thing with small caps. This year, only 4% earnings growth. Next year, 17% earnings growth. The market is going to start to discount this. This is a sea change. You're going to see it like the fourth quarter of last year.
I love what you said, that price follows earnings, because it feels like this year earnings have been following price. In other words, analysts after analysts said, we like this market because the fourth quarter earnings are going to be great. So the stocks have already responded. Many stocks have already responded, and now they've got to clear these hurdles. My guess is they'll lower those hurdles as we approach those earnings dates.
Yeah.
But are any of these sectors or combination in these sectors enough to provide the leadership that we've had from communication services? I mean, could we have like a lot of stocks up and the broad market is still down?
I think we're going to see a more subdued broad market indices because the heaviest weights are going to underperform. They don't have to crash. NVIDIA doesn't have to crash. This is not Cisco. This is not 1999 or 2000. They're just going to dramatically underperform. And because of their weightings, the indices could be flat to up maybe single digits. But you are going to see monster rallies under the surface. So much money is going to be made in the next 6 months.
Is there one sector you like more than any other right now?
Look, I like industrial. We've got it across the gamut. But everything that's been left for dead, whether it's small caps, cyclicals, I like cyclicals. I don't think this economy, I think they're going to cut. You've got a 95% chance of one cut by December, 68% chance of 2 cuts by December. I think they're going to catch it just in time.
I hope so, because I'm afraid they're going to miss it.
Yeah, I'm seeing the slowing data, too.
Thanks. Good stuff, my man. All right, folks.